Husband somehow caught me in the act and started videoing it to my friends. My life is ruined.
I got caught in the act and now I'm left with nothing. I can't really go out. My friends are trying to reach out to me, but I am too embarrassed to talk to any of them. The news has gotten to my parents and some of my family members. Some of the people that were not truly my friends are sharing it on other social media platforms, even though it was meant for just our group chat. Hi guys, my name is Amanda and I'm 25 years old. My husband and I have been married for 4 years now, and we started off fine, but I don't think that's true anymore. Since the past few years of our marriage, things had been difficult, and I was no longer interested in this charade called marriage. To be honest, nothing really excites me anymore because what I felt then, I no longer feel for my husband. Maybe I have grown out of love. The name of my husband is Alex, or should I say was. He is 27 years old. We have known each other for 5 years now, but we have been married for 4 years. Alex and I met at a shopping mall 5 years ago. We ran into each other coincidentally at the sales counter. I had a problem with my credit card, and I was stranded at that point, and I didn't know how to sort myself out. Alex saw that I was having issues with the payment, so he walked up to me and asked if everything was okay. I explained what was going on, and he offered to assist me with the payment. At first, I wanted to decline, but he was persistent in helping me. In order to save myself from the embarrassment that my card was causing me then, I allowed Alex to help me with the payment, so we got out of the mall together and I collected his contact details and told him I will give him a call so he could send me his account details in order for me to transfer the money he had spent paying for my items. He told me not to bother about refunding him the money, so he walked me to my car. I got home that day and I made sure to call Alex to thank him for what he did. We chatted on the phone and followed each other on Instagram. From there, we got to know ourselves more, asked ourselves how our day went, what we ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and many other things. Along the line, our friendship grew stronger. Alex and I would spend hours calling, chatting, and texting each other. Few months after we met at the mall, Alex asked me to be his girlfriend. I accepted because he was a good person, and he made me laugh easily without even trying. We were fond of each other, and so it was easy for us to date. During that time we were dating, Alex treated me nice. He bought me things I liked and didn't ask for anything in return. He gave me a lot of gifts and we went on vacations together. We dated for a year before Alex popped the question and asked me to be his wife. Of course, I accepted excitedly. So we got married a few months later. The first few months of our marriage was blissful, and our lives were just like how it was when we were dating. We kept on going on regular dates, outings, and attending events together. Alex and I were like best of friends because of how we were fond of each other. I know you all would be wondering if Alex and I were fond of each other, what went wrong, right? Well, I discovered that marriage was not how I thought it was going to be. Along the line, I fell out of love. Yes, guys, I fell out. I thought that after getting married, Ify would be fun, but I never thought that there was more to marriage. I had to put an end to some of my old habits. Before I got married, my friends and I went out to Friday night club, hung out together, and even did some sleepovers. But after I got married, I had to put an end to it because Alex often reminded me that that lifestyle doesn't suit me any longer, and soon we would start having our own kids. Elle felt bad because Alex restricted me from doing what he was also doing, and I felt left out. Being a full-time housewife is not really for me because I am a social person, and I like hanging out with my friends and making memories. Now, the only thing stopping me is my marriage to Alex. Alex often goes to work and comes back late at night, even though he does not have a hectic work schedule. He always hung out with his friends, leaving me alone at home. Guys, I hated my new daily routine at Alex's house. One day I tried talking to Alex about the late nights, but we had an argument and we said hurtful things to each other. I later discovered that he was not who I thought. He said things he was not remorseful about, and that left me heartbroken. I couldn't go out with my single friends like I used to. They often send me pictures of them having fun together, and I always felt jealous, and that led to me cheating on my husband, Alex. So guys, I was tired of staying all alone at home doing house chores and not going out to hang out with my friends. So I cheated. I often snuck out of the house anytime Alex left for work. I collided with my friends and instructed them to not let Alex know that I'm going out without his knowledge. I went clubbing and went back to my old habits. My friends also supported me by going out of the house behind my husband's back. They would encourage me to have fun while I'm still young, and that Alex is also having his own fun outside. I saw reasons with them because my husband always went out with his guys and always came back late at night. One day, Alex was out of town for a trip with his colleagues, so it was a perfect opportunity for me and my friends to go to the Friday night club. We bought drinks and took lots of pictures together. We had a lot of fun that night. While we were seated on our table, a young man approached me, trying to have a conversation with me. Before he could say anything, I clearly told him I was married, but he was persistent. We later got talking along the line, but we didn't exchange any contact. I left early with my friends that night because we drank a lot and we were intoxicated. The following morning, my friends and I kept on talking about what happened the previous night. They seemed interested in knowing what had happened between me and the young man that approached me. They teased me about it and really wanted to know more. I told them that I didn't know much about him and that nothing was going on between us. My friends were surprised when I said I didn't know his name. They told me not to worry, that I might get to see him again. Lol. Yes, I wanted to have fun, but I never planned on cheating on my husband. I just wanted to be free and not be restricted from doing what makes me happy. Before I got married to Alex, I was a very sociable person, loved to party a lot, travel, and do what a sprinter would do. My mistake was that I never discussed it with Alex. We should have had that discussion before getting married in the first place. I guess I was blinded by the excitement of that moment then. Now I really regretted settling down this early. So guys, Alex was still out of town, and I continued going out with my friends. I didn't know what it was for me then, but at some point I wanted to see that young man. So I had two main reasons for going out. One of them was to have fun, and the other was to see the young man again, hopefully. All efforts to meet him failed. I didn't know his name, so I couldn't search him on social media. My friends promised to get the two of us to see each other again, but I didn't know how that was possible. Alex returned from his trip 3 days later. The trip should have lasted longer than that, but due to unforeseen circumstances, they had to return. Alex was given 2 days' work free day so he could relieve all stress. I could tell that the 2 days Alex didn't go to work was hell for me because I couldn't go clubbing. He was always at home. I know some wives would trade the position I was in with anything because most women crave for their husband's attention. Alex provided what I needed and wanted and did what a wife could ask for. He gave me attention, but for me, I needed more than that. I wanted to be let loose and not stuck in a particular position. I wanted to do the things I was fond of doing even before meeting Alex. During one of the regular outings I had with my friends, I was privileged to meet the young man I had met at the Friday night club. We recognized each other, and we chatted like we had known ourselves for years. We introduced ourselves. He said his name is Philip and asked what my name was. I told him I'm Amanda, and we exchanged contacts. I also told him I was married, and he said he knew that already because I had made it clear to him the last time we met at the club. Lol. Philip is a 26-year-old entrepreneur. Ever since I met Philip, it was like I found what I always wanted. He always took me out to lots of nightclubs. In fact, I hung out more with Philip than I did with my friends. Sometimes he would tell me to invite my friends to come join us. I always had one excuse or another to tell Alex so he could allow me out of the house and not be suspicious about my movement. I kept on meeting with Philip for months, and my husband didn't notice I was seeing another man. Alex was insignificant to me, even when he tried to spend time with me. I was really irritated and often got angry at any given opportunity. I guess I no longer feel the way I felt for my husband from when we started dating. Maybe I no longer love him anymore. But Philip was very lively and also fun to be with. He always tries to light up my mood through his text messages. Philip always bought us tickets, and we attended a lot of concerts together. At 25 years, I was married and already had an affair partner who was 1 year younger than my husband. Philip was fully aware that I was married, but he kept on professing love to me. At some point, he wanted us to get married and secretly elope far away from where nobody could locate us, even my husband, Alex. Yes, guys, he did propose that, but I wasn't ready for that. I just wanted to have my free life and get to do the things I did when I was still single. Maybe I was young and naive, that was why I married so early. Or should I say I was excited about the moment and didn't really give much thought about it before saying yes to Alex then? Alex failed to understand me. I'm not trying to justify my infidelity or try to shift blame. No, guys. But truth be told, Alex also participated in this. I didn't have a problem with him hanging out with his guys, but he had a problem with me hanging out with mine because he thought they were a bad influence on me. If he had made me do whatever I wanted, I wouldn't have snuck out of the house without his knowledge. I have known my friends before I even met my husband, Alex. We were friends at college and also graduated together. I really didn't understand why he was against me being friends with them. For months, Philip and I continued our secret affairs together, and Alex usually went out of town for work purposes. During this period, Philip often spent the night at our place. Sometimes he would stay for a week because Alex often spent 2 to 3 weeks out of town. None of my friends knew about Philip spending the night at my house because I didn't feel the need to tell them. Yes, they are my friends, but I wanted to draw the boundaries between us. I told Philip about it, and he agreed we should keep it a secret from them. I couldn't trust them that much, though. I know you all are wondering how my husband actually found out that I was cheating on him even when I always snuck out. He found out 2 weeks ago, and it was only because he was being suspicious of me and went out of his way to find out the truth. For the past 6 months since I met Philip, I didn't give much attention to my husband anymore. We would usually wake up in the morning and go about our daily routine. Sometimes he would give me gifts and take me out on regular dates. Alex noticed that I wasn't nagging about his constant late-night comings or telling him how I wanted to hang out with my friends like I used to do. So he suspected that I was cheating on me. One day, Alex confronted me if I was in any way having an affair with anyone, and I bluntly said no. With the look on his face then, I could tell he didn't buy my answer, and I told him I wasn't interested in having a back and forth with him, so I stood up from where we were seated. He stressed further but later stopped since he saw I wouldn't open up by myself if truly I was cheating on him. So guys, in order to know the truth and confirm his suspicions, my husband set me up. Yes, Alex set me up, and I was foolish enough to fall right into his trap. My husband knew about Philip coming to spend the night at our place whenever he was out of town, but only pretended and acted like he didn't know what was going on. We woke up one morning, and Alex told me that something came up and he needed to travel out of town urgently, and he left in a hurry, saying he could spend like 2 days before he could return. I felt excited because I was getting the house myself after a long time, so I called Philip to come over. Not long after my husband left the house, Philip came over. We had breakfast together and planned on going out later that afternoon. Then we decided to watch a movie together. While we were watching the movie together, Alex walked in on us. Unknown to us, Alex brought out his phone and did a live stream. Before I could turn, I saw Alex and I was shocked. I tried explaining to him, but he was not listening to me. He couldn't look me in the eyes because of how disgusted it was, and he left. Philip was trying to calm me down, but I knew the situation was already out of hand. At that point, I felt that my marriage was over. I practically used my hands to destroy my marriage. A lot of thoughts ran through my mind and didn't pay Philip any attention. At that moment, I thought about how this video was going to ruin my life and what was coming for me. The realization of not having anything and Alex divorcing me dawned on me. I was deep in my own thoughts when Philip told me not to worry, that everything would be okay. And so he left hurriedly. Alex didn't come back home that day. I waited throughout the night, but he didn't show up. I tried calling him, but it wasn't going. I sent him a voicemail and even texted him, but Alex didn't return any of those messages. I felt tired and went to bed alone. I was restless throughout the night and couldn't get some sleep because I was thinking about what I had brought upon myself. The following morning, I woke up seeing the pictures of my affair on our group chat. I couldn't believe my eyes, so I called Alex immediately. My husband refused to pick up the phone and later switched off his phone. I felt really embarrassed and I didn't know what to do. I cried my eyes out thinking about what Alex had done to me. A few minutes later, I started getting calls and messages from friends. I later discovered that my friends who encouraged me to have fun without Alex's knowledge were among the people condemning me in the group. They shared my pictures to other social media platforms, even though it was meant for our group chat alone. They wrote disgusting captions under the pictures and shared it among themselves. I wouldn't say my friends deceived or lured me into doing what I did because I'm an adult and I can make decisions on my own, but I never thought they would really betray me like that. Of course, I didn't trust them that much, so I kept some of the things Philip and I did to myself. Alex didn't only stream the video, but he also sent it to my parents. That really hurt me because my parents are disciplinarians. They were not ready to let me into their house or have anything to do with me after seeing that video. If there was anything my parents condemned while we were growing up as kids, that was definitely infidelity. They cut off all relatives who were into that, and I wouldn't be an exemption if I'm being caught. Now I'm shattered. Update. Hi guys. Life hadn't been easy ever since my husband streamed that video of me and Philip on our group chat. I lost a lot of friends. Well, those were not my friends to begin with. I couldn't show my face or try to go out because it was too embarrassing. On the other hand, Alex is not helping matters. Alex wouldn't want to speak with me or have anything to do with me. My parents also are very disappointed in me and they don't want to speak with me. I know what I did was wrong, but I'm not totally to be blamed. I only wanted to be free and not to be caged in one spot doing nothing other than house chores. I just wanted to live my life. I guessed I might have done it the wrong way by having an affair with Philip. I know you all would be wondering what happened between me and Philip. Well, Philip left me and told me he wasn't ready to be arrested by Alex and also wants to start up something meaningful with his life. And that he had had his fun with me and advised me to also move on because he had already... Honestly, I wasn't concerned about Philip because I knew it was just a feeling of the moment that made me get close to him. Or should I say, I used him? Well, I guessed so. My main concern right now is how I would protect my already damaged image and get Alex back to me. I have realized my mistake, and I want to make things right again. I really want to go back to my husband and build my family. I hope he gives me a second chance to rewrite everything wrong. Just a few weeks ago, Alex told me he knew about my infidelity, but wanted to catch me red-handed, so he put up an act that something came up and he needed to leave town urgently. He waited a few miles away from the neighborhood and just a few minutes later he stepped out. Philip drove in. At that point, his suspicions were right, so he needed evidence. Then he walked in on us and streamed the video. So guys, that was how I foolishly fell for my husband's trap. I was very foolish in not knowing that Alex would at some point suspect me. All these while my husband knew about Philip but didn't want to tell me, and waited to ruin my life. Why did he have to live stream it? Was it necessary? I feel really disgusted writing this to you guys right now. I know you all would blame me for having cheated on my husband, but it hurts me so much that Alex made that video. He knew how I hate to be embarrassed, and that's why he did that to me. I spoke to him about it, and he told me he intentionally did it to ruin my reputation and also teach me a lesson. Alex sent me the divorce papers, and I don't even know how to feel about it. I honestly don't want to divorce my husband, but he's been persistent. I don't have anywhere to go right now. All my friends have left me, my parents wouldn't want to talk to me, and Philip wouldn't open his door to me. Right now, I managed to get a small apartment for the time being. I can't continue like this because I have no business of my own to fend for me. Alex wouldn't give me a listening ear. He closed all of our joint accounts and froze my credit cards, leaving me with nothing. I have learnt my lesson, and I guessed I learnt it the hard way. One faithful day, I got a message from the group chat. When I opened the message, I couldn't believe what I saw. I got the biggest shock of my life. I saw that one of my friends, Sarah, who advised me to go out and have fun, was going out with my husband, Alex. I was very surprised, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. They posted a lot of love-up pictures and did what couples do. This was quite ongoing for a while now, but they kept it all a secret. They really wanted to spite me. That was why they posted it on the group chat. I felt betrayed by the two people I once called family. How could Alex start going out with my friend? Why would he want to be punished like this? I never knew my friend would go after my husband in my absence. After seeing those pictures on our group chat, I picked up my phone to call her. I called her several times and she didn't pick my call, so I decided to pay her a visit. I knocked for a while before she opened the door. She was surprised to see me and didn't want to let me into the house. We struggled, and I was able to enter. Immediately I entered. I asked her why she hasn't been picking my calls and why she is avoiding me. She said she wasn't avoiding me because she isn't scared of me. I asked her what that meant, and she said I was the one that cheated on my husband, and he dumped me because he doesn't want me anymore. I asked her if she had eyes for Alex, and why she would call herself my friend, and still secretly have feelings for my husband. Why did she tell me to cheat on him when she had eyes for him all along? And Sarah told me that I was a complete fool to take such advice. Which woman in her right senses would have a complete home and still want a boring single life? Now that I think about it, I guess she is right. No woman in her right senses will take marital advice from a single friend. Update. Hi guys, I hope you all are still ready for my story because I still have a lot to say. This will be the completion of my story because I am now a divorced woman. I saw many of you in the comments judging me and everyone in this story. I guessed I deserved most of the negative comments I got. Let me tell you all how I finally got divorced. After the back and forth with Sarah, I got so angry and went to Alex's house. I asked him why he decided to cheat on me with one of my friends, and he said it was his little way of paying me back for bringing in another man into our matrimonial home. We got into a heated argument that day, and I was really irritated about it. Alex told me he has filed for a divorce and he would send it to me. I got angry and asked him why he didn't ask for her permission before filing for a divorce. Alex said that there was no need for that, because he didn't give me the permission to bring Philip into our home. Honestly speaking, guys, I cried after hearing such words from my husband. Seeing my friend with my husband hurts me so much. I never knew she had eyes for Alex all these while. I wallowed in self-pity when Alex told me to leave his house anytime I'm done crying. Thinking about it, I wanted to let loose and not be tied down. But now, I have realized that there's nothing really in that life, and I have really messed up. I should have seen this coming and never have taken advice from my single friends. I should have protected my home from friends like this. Maybe this was what Alex saw that warned of not having anything to do with them. After leaving Alex's house, I discovered that the divorce is going to take a toll on me because I had already been through a lot even before the divorce happened. A few days later, the divorce papers were ready and they were sent to me. I didn't sign it because I was not ready to let go of my husband. I know I messed up, but everyone deserves a second chance. So I took the papers to Alex and I asked him if he truly wanted this, but he told me that there was nothing left again. I went home and I was very devastated. I got home and decided to harsh out a plan to make sure that I make it out having a divorce. I was very desperate because I didn't want a title of a divorcee, even though I was the one that caused the problem myself. One of the reasons I was very desperate is because I could not just watch the same person that caused my marriage harm end up with my husband. I made sure that I would do anything so that the both of them did not end up together. He could divorce me and get together with anybody else, but surely not Sarah that advised me to leave him. Even though I was the fool for accepting everything, I can't let it go. It took me some time, but I finally decided to speak with my parents about it. I know that they would not agree with me because they do not condone infidelity, and there was every possibility that they would chase me out of the house. But I was ready to take that risk because I had already risked everything. I didn't want to end up alone, so I decided to go and recruit some of my aunties and uncles to follow me and go speak to my parents. It wasn't easy at all, and they didn't agree at first. But after much intervention, they decided to help me. My parents finally agreed, and they followed me to Alex's house the very next day. Initially, he did not plan on letting me into the house, but when he saw my parents, he gave them that respect and allowed them in. When everybody sat down and were ready to talk, I could see from his eyes that he was not going to agree to anything they wanted to say. The way he was looking at me with so much hatred scared me a lot, and I knew that I had messed up. I used to think that I had made him angry before, but that day was when I finally realized that there was no way I could get my husband back. When my parents started begging him and asking him to forgive me, he did not even let them finish before he narrated everything all over again. He told me that he could not forgive me for what I did, and that there was no way he could end up with a cheater, that there would be every possibility I would do it again in the future. I went down on my knees and tried to beg him, but all efforts were in vain. He chased me out of his house and even told my parents to leave. When we got outside the gate, my parents were so embarrassed that they did not want to be seen with me because the noise had brought the neighbors. By that time, I knew that the neighbors already knew what had been going on. I have become a laughingstock because I was the one who cheated on her husband but was not ready to let him go. I even heard people whispering that I was very selfish for thinking that I could hold onto a man that I disrespected. I got embarrassed and ran home without even waiting for the rest of the people I came with. When I went home, I made a conscious decision to finally divorce Alex because I knew that I had tried everything and nothing worked. I did not want to keep embarrassing myself and staining my family's name. The very next day, I signed the divorce papers and sent it back to him. It was a hard decision, but I had to make it. Alex did not call me or acknowledge that he received the divorce papers, and I did not care to ask. The fight for spousal support was a very difficult one, but even though my lawyer advocated for a certain amount, I did not want to become greedy and ask for it, because I knew that if he wanted to, he could prove that I did not deserve the spousal support. At the end of the day, I settled for a very minimum amount, but I am grateful that I even ended up with it. I decided to get my life back together because I could not let such an incident weigh down my life. While I was at home and lonely, I realized that a simple decision, or rather a very bad decision I made, has ruined everything. And the friends I thought that meant a lot to me left. And even my husband also left me. So I decided to reorganize and get everything back together. Everything happened about 4 months ago. Just yesterday, I got the news that my ex-husband broke up with the friend that had betrayed me. And I was very happy because I wanted him to be with anyone but not just Sarah. I was finally able to move on because the whole thing that had been holding me back was the knowledge of their union. Now, I'm just trying to find my way in life, and I'm just trying to make the right decision. So guys, that was how I was caught up in the act by my ex-husband, and he filed for a divorce. I'm now single, and I tell you that life hasn't been easy ever since Alex and I got separated 6 months ago. Honestly, guys, Sarah and the rest of my friends are now my past, and I sincerely hope that I don't meet their kind ever again. I regretted trusting them or even calling them my friends. Alex's anger was justified and had every reason to be angry with me. No man in his right senses would want to live with a cheater. I hope you reading this would learn a few things from my story. That, as a married woman, you shouldn't take advice from anyone, most especially from your single friends, because they might be the one to make you use your hands to destroy your marriage. That was my mistake. I regretted listening to Sarah and the rest of my friends that even advised me to cheat. I thought we were friends, but I never knew they were jealous of everything I had, including being the only one that was married among them. Like the saying goes, it's better for them to hate you than for them to be jealous of you. When they hate you, they wouldn't want to see you, but when they are jealous of you, they would try to bring you down. Always keep your life private and be content with what you have. Don't go into marriage. If you are not really ready for it, because my love for the single led to the crash of my marriage. I was influenced by friends who misled me. There's more to marriage than just going out and taking pictures. I was carried away by the feelings of the moment and never knew that I had to work for it. Now, marriage is a beautiful thing, and mine wasn't an exemption. I had what most wives could ask for and wasn't even lacking anything. But I was drawn by what was not there because the single people wanted what I had. My only joy is that Alex and I had no child together. I would not have bared to see my child being maltreated by my friend Sarah or any other woman. I wouldn't have been able to forgive myself for seeing my child suffer because of my foolish mistake. I would also advise you guys not to go down the route I took, because I also brought disgrace to my parents. They were so embarrassed by what I did. Alex spoke to them in a rude way. The neighbors also knew about it and brought a certain stigma on my parents. My friends won't stop making fun of me, and they removed me from the group chat immediately when Alex and I got divorced. My mistake has caused me a lot. These days, I just sit and think about the things I did. I wish I never went down that path because it's disturbing and lonely. I missed having Alex as my partner, but then I missed having a partner as a whole because these days I hardly go out and I don't even think I'm ready to move on from Alex. At this point, I pray that I come around dating again someday. Thank you guys for following my story. I hope you don't make the same mistake I made. Goodbye. Then one night stand with his high school bully, and when I came home, it was emptied and he was gone. Have you ever had an unexpected encounter that changed your life in an instant? Well, I didn't know that my actions would actually lead to me being single. Only if I knew that he was my boyfriend's high school bully and my boyfriend hasn't healed from it. I would have tried to avoid it. I wouldn't have had a one-night stand with him. But I don't even know why I had done what I did while knowing very well that I had a boyfriend who loved me very much. But guess what I did? I took that for a ride, and now that it's gone, I am left to pick up the pieces of my stupidity. It all started when I had a chance encounter with someone from my partner's past, his high school bully. Little did I know that this unexpected meeting would lead to a series of shocking events. Sure, he once shared his high school experiences with me before, but he never told me much about his bully. The only thing he had told me was that he would never forgive him, and if he had a chance, he would avenge himself because of the damage he had done to him. My boyfriend Mitch Cole, male 27, and I, female 27, first met at a clothing store in San Jose in California. I was working as a store assistant, so that day I had to assist him in choosing some outfits that would be fit for the event that he was going to. I gave him some ideas on how and what he can wear. He appreciated my good customer service and told me that he would come back, and he wants me to be his wardrobe assistant. At first I found that hilarious, so I laughed at it. A few days or a week later, I don't remember well. He came back to the store and asked for me, but unfortunately I was not at work. I was attending some home emergency. I was told by the girl that I was working with that there was a Mitch guy who wanted to see me. I was surprised by that. I didn't think the guy would actually come back. I mean, he told me that he wanted me to be his wardrobe assistant, but I didn't think he was serious. When I was back at work, I think 4 or 5 days passed and the guy came back. He told me that he had come by the previous week to look for me, but I wasn't there. He then asked for my number and told me that he wanted to call me before he came to the shop to check if I would be available, or if I would not be at work. Mitch was a charmer, a very handsome guy with cute dimples and hazel small eyes. I won't even mention his body structure, it was everything. He is fit, a bit buff. He was just everything that most girls call a dream guy. I gave him my numbers. I mean, who would deny a guy who looked like Trevor Noah, the comedian, her numbers? Since then, we started communicating through cell phones. My colleague asked me if I was dating the Mitch guy. That time I wished I was dating him. I wished we started dating the first time we saw each other. Whenever I would see him, or be next to him, or even communicate with him through social media, I would get goosebumps, you know. I would use some type of way, a way that only myself knew. I think I was in love with the guy at first glance. Was I a gone girl already? We had been into a few dates, and to say I was on top of the world would be an understatement. I was floating in clouds, my heart was beating out of a ribcage. 2 weeks later, we started dating. And I must say it was a bliss, up until it wasn't. Mitch and I shared a lot of love, happiness, and dreams. We would talk about our future goals and dreams and try to make them come true. One thing I loved about Mitch was that he didn't know when to quit. He would do the same thing over and over again until it gets to where he was. He was a very driven and passionate person, which made me fall more in love with him. We dated for a couple of years. Things were okay for the first 2 years. We were happy until we went on our 3rd year. Things started to change, Mitch started to change. I didn't know what was going on and what had made him change on me like that. He somehow got distanced, he was always at work. When I addressed the issue, he would tell me that his job is demanding. That was the reason why he was never home most of the time. Well, I had moved in with him in our 1st year of dating. I mean, our love was still in the air and I was so smitten by him. I didn't want to be away from him for too long. He was like my pain block medication, you know. The kind of love that we shared was the kind of love that we only see in movies. He was too perfect to be true. And yes, I had become his wardrobe assistant. He would always ask me to take out things he would wear when he was going out with the boys or when we were going out. Our relationship meant everything to me. I don't know if it meant something to him, but all I know is that I genuinely loved Mitch, and for just one simple mistake, he decided to just pack and leave me. I didn't know that the person I had cheated with was actually his high school bully. Mitch has lots of skeletons that he still needs to deal with. One red flag about him was that he was so secretive and full of grudges. If you do him wrong, it takes time for him to move on from that thing, and it depends on what you did. I didn't know that he was still holding a grudge of something that had happened more than 10 years ago. I understand his anger and the hatred he has towards the guy, but he had to tell me more details about the guy you know. but instead he wouldn't want to talk about him, only the part that he hated him, and he would one day make him pay for all the pain he had caused him and the fact that he would bully him in front of other students. Mitch had a lot of anger buried on his chest. Mitch was always at work, and since I was doing remote jobs, I was always in the house, meaning I have a lot of free time to myself. At first, I understood it and stayed indoors, but as time went by, I started getting bored and lonely. Mitch would sometimes not come back home for maybe a whole week, going with work since he was working as an archaeologist. He told me that it had been his dream job since he was young, and I was glad and proud of him that he chose to follow his dreams and made it a reality. But his job was just too demanding for my liking. At times, I would miss my boyfriend and need him, but he wouldn't be anywhere. He would be out there in the mountains or wherever they were going to when doing their research about ancient history. He would even switch off his phone and be unreachable. At first, when he was unreachable for like 5 days, I got really worried. I had thought something had happened to him, you know. Time went by and his ongoing and unending trips got to me, and it affected our relationship, and even our intimate moments were no longer the same. You know the pain of being an intimacy addict, but your partner is nowhere to be found and you are forced to help yourself at times. I got tired of helping myself. I needed my man, but he was not there. Even when he was around, he was always tired. We would go for just one round and that was it. He was sexually making me hungry and I didn't want to go and seek it outside our relationship. But I missed the intimacy, the touches, kissing and all that. I didn't want it to end with me going outside our relationship and committing something that would jeopardize my relationship with Mitch. I had tried so many times to seduce Mitch, but he was just not giving in. I remember one day when he was coming from Africa, when he had gone with his work, I prepared him a very nice dinner and prepared myself to give him a mind-blowing welcome home. I tried making him look at the sexy number that I was wearing, but the dude just slept. Okay, I understood that. I told myself that maybe he was jet-lagged, so he needed some rest. I knew that on the 2 following days he wouldn't be going to work, so I would give him the day that he arrived, and the following one to rest. Then I would try again on a Sunday. I thought that he would surely have well rested, and he would give me his attention and bring back the spark that we once had in our relationship. The second day, Sunday, arrived. I prepared some lunch for him, and later on I wore my second sexy number to seduce my man. The man of the house just told me that he was tired, only if he knew how much I had been desiring some intimacy with him. I missed him and our love-making sessions, or sometimes they go rough when we decide to go wild. I missed all the action that he was giving our relationship. Time went on, and I started getting tired of waiting for Mitch to notice my efforts in our relationship. It felt like I was in it alone, and I was the only one contributing love in it. Yes, I loved and still love Mitch a lot, but sometimes love alone is just not good enough. Love needs attention, time, and perseverance, and to be sure that you are both in it. Imagine being in love or staying in love with someone hoping that they would change their bad behavior and would eventually give you the attention that you need. So you end up being patient and decide to pull up with the bullsh *** that your partner is doing. Some end up losing themselves while doing that, and I refused to lose myself while waiting for Mitch to change. I decided to also change and go back to my old self that was stress-free, carefree, and lived her life like it's the last day. I had told myself that I would start by going to do some shopping. After I had finished with shopping, I would go on solo dates and maybe visit nightclubs just to unwind and let loose a little. One Friday night, I had been bored in the house the whole day, and my boyfriend Mitch was not even there. He had mentioned going to one of his friends' houses, since he was going through a tough time of losing a parent. I understood that, and told him that he should go and support his friend, and make sure that he comes back when he is in the right state of mind. I know how losing a parent is. You sometimes end up doing stupid things that you would regret later just because you are grieving and want to numb the pain of losing someone. Anyway, that Friday night, I dressed in my short and revealing outfit. I was going to a party and dancing, so I needed something that would make me feel free. When I got into the club, I decided to stay by the bar so I would be able to order anything that I wanted. The music that was playing was so good and relaxing. I somehow felt like it was what I had needed. It was so smooth and soothing. Later on, some DJ came and changed the slow jam that was playing and played some dance songs. Mind you, at that time I was starting to get tipsy. So imagine playing a dance song while tipsy, you would end up intoxicated. I had also ordered some hookah to add some fun. as I was dancing to music and drinking my beverage and smoking my hookah. A tall, sexy, and slim-fit guy came to the bar. He ordered some shooters for himself. I tried talking to him since he was sitting next to me. He ended up joining me, then we drank like sharks. We danced and had so much fun. While we were still talking, I asked the guy his name, and he told me that he was Bruce Thompson, male 29. I won't lie and say I didn't have a good time with Bruce, because I did. I had the best time of my life. So after midnight, Bruce decided that we would take our mini party and continue with it in his hotel room, since it was not far from the club. I agreed to go with him. I wouldn't be able to drive in my intoxicated state. So when we arrived in his hotel room, our mini party continued. We drank so much to a point that I felt my private part twitching. Bruce and I played some games, and within minutes we kissed. His lips were so soft and juicy. Things escalated to a point where our clothes were flying. No one was thinking about anything. We were in our moment, and it was great. The guy explored my whole body like he was exploring his favorite country. He was like a drug in my body. My body was giving in to every touch that he was doing, every sweet word that he was saying to the commands that he was making. The intimate moment that I had with Bruce was on another level. He made sure that I was satisfied with every action that he was taking. The intimate moment was, I don't know how I can put it, but I think it would be magical. Because it was truly and unbelievably magical. It was something that I had long desired that my boyfriend had been failing to do the whole time. Imagine going on intimacy hunger for over 3 months because your man is busy making excuses when you try to make him meet your desires and cravings. When I finally had some intimacy with Bruce, I felt like I had some sort of a web in my private area, and it had dust. That's how much I had last had such a mind-blowing lovemaking, even though it's from a one-night stand, but it still counts, right? I was doing something wrong, and if Mitch was to find out about it, a lot would be destroyed, and I would lose him. I knew that I had to tread carefully. I hoped that Mitch wouldn't find out. But who was I fooling? Worst part is that the person that I had just cheated with, my one-night stand, actually knew Mitch, and another thing he knew about my relationship with him. You know, sometimes we do things driven by our desires, not knowing that we were actually baiting on some rival that your partner and the person that you cheat with actually have a history, and the rival is somehow not over. I had just committed an abomination and had a one-night stand with someone who used to bully my partner in high school. Mind you, I found that out way too late when I had already done the worst. The following day, I went back home, and to my surprise, I found my boyfriend Mitch preparing breakfast for himself, I think. Regret washed over me the same time I saw my boyfriend. I regretted cheating on him with a stranger at that time, but I was not regretting the climaxes and explorations that I had experienced the previous. It was just on top of the world. Few days passed, and I decided to just get some fresh air and go to the mall to unwind and have some solo date. And when I came home later that day, I was in for an even bigger shock. I found Mitch looking at his phone like he had seen a ghost. So I got curious about what he was watching on his phone. I decided to ask what was going on and why was he looking so spooked. I will never forget the expression that he gave me. You know, if looks were able to murder someone and bury them, then by Mitch's look I would have long been murdered and buried. He gave the look that had mixed emotion on it. I saw hurt, rage, and somehow disappointment in him. That time he didn't tell me anything until I went to him and asked what was wrong while taking his phone. When I took his phone, I saw the most shocking and unexpected thing ever. A video, well, a CCTV footage of me and Bruce in a hotel room getting it down. Everything was visible, and every act was recorded as it was. I didn't know what to say nor do. I just got tongue-tied and my heart beating out of the ribcage. There was actually no way of denying that I had cheated on my boyfriend. Even if I wanted to deny it, but I wouldn't be able to. I mean, the whole evidence of my abomination was there, on his cell phone, and I was doing all the wrong things to another man, a man that I had found at the club. How could I be such a fool and careless? I gave myself some courage to just apologize to Mitch for what I had done. I had hoped that maybe he would ask what I did, but he did the most unthinkable thing ever. The way he was hurt and angry, I knew there and then that I had destroyed my relationship with the only man that I truly love. I begged and knelt on my knees trying to apologize to him, but he just looked at me like I was pouring petroleum in an already blazing fire. As I was still on my knees like that, crying and begging and telling him how much I had never meant to hurt him and how much I loved him. Without any warning, I felt my cheek getting hot. As I was still confused about that action, he did it again. It was so unbelievable, like I was in great shock. I couldn't believe that Mitch had actually slapped me, not once, but twice. I asked why he was slapping me. He started calling me names and told me how cheap I was. He was so enraged to a point that he called me a body seller and asked how I could sleep with someone I don't even know. I didn't know how I would answer his bombarding questions, so I just kept quiet. He furthered by asking if I knew the person that I had slept with, made love with. My mind got so confused, and I wanted to know who I had slept with. He told me that he would never trust me again, and if it was in other cases, I would have let him get killed by his enemies. He asked how I could cheat with his high school bully and if I knew the damage and satisfaction that I had caused just by sleeping with his enemy. I told that I didn't know and I was sorry. He then got really angry and told me that he cannot be under the same roof as me because I have shown that I was untrustworthy. And he didn't know what I would do to him while he was sleeping if I knew how to open my legs for his sworn enemy. I was so heartbroken and shuddered by each and every word that he was uttering to me. Sure, I had done him wrong in the worst way possible, but how could he say such hurtful things to me? I don't even want to mention the part where he called me a body seller and told me that I would murder him someday because I was untrustworthy. Well, those words hit deep, and I don't even think that I would ever move on from them. They tore my heart into small, unfixable pieces. Later on that day, after he had said a lot of hurtful and harsh words, he told me that he wanted nothing to do with me, and I should go back and enjoy Bruce's D****** because I am no longer his girlfriend. That was the last straw, I begged him while kicking and crying. I didn't want him to leave me. I was regretting everything that I had done, and I couldn't believe that Bruce would actually send Mitch such a video, then post it on TikTok. Imagine going viral for the bad and nasty thing. My reputation and self-dignity was shuttered. Mitch left the house and went wherever that he went to. I was so heartbroken, I would cry myself to sleep every day. I lost appetite and even the energy to go on. I felt like my whole world had crushed on me. The only thing that had kept me going and made me able to sleep was a bottle of whiskey and vodka. I didn't want any wine or whatever that wasn't strong. I wanted no one to come and try to see me or feel pity for me. The way I was so depressed and hurt, one would swear I had lost my mind. I stayed indoors and never opened for anyone that was knocking. I was grieving my relationship and it was painful. Up until a few weeks later, I decided to stop feeling sorry for myself. I had thought I had moved on and forgave everyone, but I was fooling myself. So I tried going to the mall to get some air, but as I was still at the mall, I fainted and woke up in the hospital. The doctor told me that I was dehydrated and depressed and referred me to the therapist. My mother was so worried and disappointed in me, and I didn't blame her. So I started therapy, which I am still attending even today. And I would say that it is helping me a bit, but I don't think I will move on from Mitch anytime soon. I love that guy. He was my source of happiness. I realized that later when he was already gone and there was nothing I would actually do to get him back. I still miss him so much. I had realized that Mitch wasn't the one who drove me to his enemy's bed, but my greed and desire did. Please help me with some advices. I do want to move on from everything, but it's hard, and I didn't think I'll be able to at this moment. What should I do?